Hi, I'm Roseanna and today I'm going to be sharing with you my Christmas in July. Hi, I'm Roseanna from Moara Crochet and today I'm going to be sharing with you all the makes I was making through July and June. Now please forgive me today. Today is a Sunday. There will be some background noise. People are here in the area. I live in a residential area where people tend to have a second home. So you may hear some background noise, which could be banging, which could be chickens or dogs or maybe passing cars. So please forgive me now, as this is something I cannot control. But let's get back to it. So for those of you who watched my previous video, I did say that I had stopped making videos for the last month. The reason being it was winter holidays here. So I became full-time carer with my little one and balancing work and childcare wasn't as easy as I thought it would be. So I decided just to enjoy the moment with my daughter and pick up again in August when she started school. So now she's back in school. This is the first weekend, so I can actually start filming again. Please forgive me about the banging. So what have I been doing? Now, I'm now in the southern hemisphere, which means for me is that winter now is in my summer. And it really still confuses me. I have been in Brazil nearly 10 years. And when I go into the winter here, especially moving more into the interior of Sao Paulo, we do get colder months. So my body automatically goes to European, or well, now English, because we're out of the EU, English winters. So I automatically want to create things for Christmas. I know, it's crazy. But there are a lot of craft people who do this and they call it Christmas in July. Now, I couldn't get this video out in time, so I decided to do it just at the end and get it in for the beginning of August. So I have been busy and I have been creating lots of crochet Christmas things for lots of little things. So I'm going to be sharing with you now the things I have been crocheting for this Christmas. So the first thing I have been creating is a request I got from my mum, which she had seen online, and it was called Pigs in Blankets. Now, for those of you who don't know what a pig in blanket is, in England it is traditional at Christmas. We have a little sausage which is then wrapped in a blanket and it's called pigs in blankets. So my mum found this crochet pattern. She said, please, can you make me some for Christmas? So of course I've made one so far with 2 more on the way, and this is the little pig in blanket that I made, which I thought was a really fun and cute pattern. So it's just a little amigurumi pig made in pink yarn and then a little crochet granny square blanket. So this pattern I found online. I didn't get it free. There is a paid version, but me being me, I can figure that out. And I created a granny square to start with and then worked out my calculations and just made a simple round crochet egg shape and then added the details. So I didn't have any button eyes to add, so I've done little French knots and a little nose and then the contrasting pink yarn for the ears. So this is the beginning of 3 little pigs in blankets, which my mum wanted. So if you're English, this will give you a tickle. So that was the first thing I did. So the second thing I did, it's tradition with me and Pod, is that we make something handmade for Christmas. And this year I'm making something on my own. Normally we do it together, which we will do in December. But I decided I wanted to make something just for me, for my home. And we have moved to a cottage in Brazil, and I'm trying to make it into an English cottage as much as I can. So I went into Pinterest, had a look at some ideas, what do I want, and it's tradition that we make a wreath for our house. Now normally I will do a natural wreath and get plants from the garden and I will make it up so it is fresh. But because it is summer here, my wreath literally lasts 2 days. It completely dries out, it starts to fall apart because it's too hot. You know, the plants aren't designed for this at that time of year. Whereas in Europe it's cold, it would hold out. So I decided, okay, this year I'm going to make a crochet wreath. So earlier this year I told you that this year was all going to be about flowers. And I got my momentum going and I was making a flower a day and making stems. So I decided to continue this idea into this wreath. So I went to Pinterest, had a look at some ideas, and I fell in love with one of the ideas I'd seen on there. And it was a wreath made just of sage. Now this is a plant I can grow in my garden. It's very aromatic. I really like sage. It has lovely memories for me. It has lovely memories with food, especially with pork, which links up with the pigs and blanket. So I decided I was going to make a wreath just with sage leaves, but crochet sage leaves. So this is going to be a mammoth task, as I'm going to make every single individual leaf. Now, as I have already learned how to make wreaths, I knew I had to do bundles of collections to go all around my wreath, but I'm only going to do it in one leaf. So I got my crochet hook and I started. And this is what I started. And I started making lots of stems like this. So I made stems of 5 and stems of 7. So what I would do is bundle them up and then create the wreath. So to start with, I have just used a sage color, which I really like. But once I got a few of these crochet pieces together, it started to look a bit boring in texture. So I wanted to create depth. Now, for those of you who know, sage has a little bit of a furry texture. So I went into my yarn stash and had a look what I had there to try and use what I've got. And I very luckily found 2 balls of mohair. So I mixed up the mohair, white mohair, with this sage colored yarn, which is from Circular. And I got this really lovely, it's hard to see here, I'll put in some videos. I got this really lovely, realistic sage effect. So this is what I've been working on. And in total, I need to make 64 stems, which sounds a lot, but I'm really quick at making these. I've got used to making stems, I've got used to making flowers. I have a little system going. So my aim was to make 4 stems a week, which would take me up to September. And then I just got my mojo going, and before I knew it, I nearly finished. So I'm only on to the last 18 stems now, but I made a little test, which I want to show. So it's hard for me to get wreaths here in Brazil, natural wreaths. I can't just go to the shop and go and get a vine wreath, which you can tend to get in the US or in England. So I had to improvise. And last year I had gone on a basket weaving course with Hope Baskets in, where was it? It was in the middle of England. I can't remember off the top of my head. A lovely little place, and it was a lovely, really lovely workshop, and I got to work out the foundations of making basket weaving. Now, I don't have willow here, so I had to improvise, and I actually used the stems of the Chinese lantern plant. Now, I have a lot of this in my garden. It grows wild, and it comes off with these huge, huge fronds, stems, which are very, very malleable. So I thought, I'm going to give it a try, see if it works, see how it dries, and it worked beautifully. So here is the wreath I made. It's still in the drying process, as you can see. still very green, but by Christmas this will completely dried out. And I've used wire to secure it because I can't do the same method as willow. It won't hold, it's not the same fiber. So I have used wire to secure it, and I use the technique of using a bucket to put all my stems into and then securing. And then I started to do a test. So this isn't going to be the finished item. As you can see, this is much thinner than this section because I've done bundles of 2 and here I've done bundles of 3. So this is a test. It will all be taken off and I will remake this closer to time once I've finished all my stems. So this is my sage wreath so far. So this will be going onto my kitchen door for Christmas. It's a lovely project. I am really enjoying making these. It's so satisfying to make one of these little stems. It's a really, really lovely project. So this is going to be my big project to be working on until Christmas. So also to let you know, I've decided to make this pattern as a free pattern, but I will be releasing this pattern in, I think, November. So if you would like to do this pattern, click the subscribe button, and when November comes, you will get a video tutorial on how to make these stems. And I will also show you how to crochet over the wires, how to connect the wires, and how to cover your stem. Okay, so that will be a full tutorial closer to the festive season. Okay, the last project and the biggest project. Now, this has been an idea we've had for a while, me and my mum. And I'm not going to tell you what it's going to be for just yet. You will find out later in the year, but I did make it. And this is a free pattern online. It's an amazing pattern. It's quirky, it's fun, and I just had to make it. You know when you see a crochet item, you think, I just need to make that. I don't know why, I just do. I will find a reason to. So I got my crochet hook out, went to the yarn shop, bought all the yarn, and I got crocheting. And this is what I made. Elf legs. So this is a free pattern online. I will put a link down below. It's an American lady who's done this pattern, and I think it's brilliant. And what she has done is, oh, I can actually show you. What she has done for this pattern is she has made these elf legs so they go in a wreath. So when it's hanging from a wreath, it looks like the elf is going in the door. Now, I just thought this was absolutely comical, and I had to make it. But I decided to make mine bigger than the pattern. So I have used a 4mm crochet hook as suggested, but I tripled my yarn because this is going to be something that will be used outside. So it is going to get the weather. Now this was seriously hard to do on my wrists. It was hard work. I was so happy when this project was finished because I made my stitches so tight, like amigurumi, that it was extremely intense on my wrists. But I am so pleased with the finished project. This is like a 2-year-old, maybe a 3-year-old size. And my mum is going to finish this. She's going to add some bells all around the edge. And we're going to be using this in England. So this will be coming back with me to my parents. And this is going to be used for Christmas. So I just love it. It's just so funny and so quirky. And I know kids are going to love this. They're going to see it and go, wow. So those are my makes for my Christmas in July. I hope you've enjoyed this video. I will put a link down below for this pattern if you would like to make this pattern. And I'm going to love you and leave you here, and I will see you in the next video. Bye.